This has been an interesting VN for me. Really interesting, is what I'm gonna say. Because I don't think I've ever read a VN that was this long, or like, is this long and still going, which is pretty cool. Besides, like, probably, what's also long? I don't know. Oh, probably Angels with Scaly Wings. Yeah, probably that. Alright, let's get reading. Oh, we got a... Okay, let me do a recap. In the last part, we got a letter from Mr. P. We don't know who that P is, but we assume that it is... Or, like, we do. I thought it was gonna be the peacock, but... my evidence is counting me as wrong, so yeah. And... okay, we got a letter from Mr. P. He was saying sorry, and apparently gave Asterion some bad memories, making him very angry. Okay, I think that's all there is to it. Let me turn this down just a tad. Okay. Let's get the show on the road. We're gonna hang out with Coda. Once more you head down to the lounge in search of Coda. The itch of curiosity prickles at the back of your mind, and it's become harder to resist scratching. Judging by how your last few conversations with the dragon went, however, you will need to be more discreet with your inquiries. He seems to be much more comfortable talking about other people and places than about himself. Perhaps he could learn a bit more about the vagrant dragon that way. When you cast your gaze towards the hearth, however, you find Coda's customary armchair empty. A little asking around leads you at last to the staff break room. Humming alike, the pine cricket calling back to an autumn he knew. Coda? Oh! A little flustered Coda puts his phone down and looks up at you. Hello, Lucian. Forgive me. I was distracted. You almost gasp. Instead, you offer him a smile and shake your head. Nah, it's fine. I just wanted to hang out for a little while. If you're busy, I can come back to another time. Nonsense. Please have a seat. As before, he gestures as before you accept. You take the seat across the table from the dragon, giving him a nod of gratitude. So, what will it be today? I apologize that we got cut off last time. If you'd like, I can continue where we left off. Actually, I have something a little different in mind. We have a lot of different guests from a lot of different places coming in, and you've been busy, or you've been all over the world, so I was hoping you might have a little personal experience I could pick out your brain on. Might help them feel welcome and make their stay much more enjoyable. I see. And you do not wish to make them feel uncomfortable or cause them offense by turning your inquiry into an interrogation of them, You almost wince. Almost. The dragon's expression remains as placid as ever. Yeah, so would you mind helping a guy out? But of course, I'm happy to help with anything you may need. Alright, in that case, I was hoping you could tell me about... This is your chance. If you can get him to open up about his travels, he might reveal a little more than he intends. You'll be careful, however, not to impress him too hard. You rack your brain thinking of all the guests who found shelter under their hotel's roof, and open your mouth to speak. Texas. Have you been to Texas? You wish to know more about the bird-brained friend who comes from... Well, yeah, I mean, you and him were the first ones we welcomed to the hotel, after all. And beyond that, he's been an excellent help with keeping the hotel up and running. Well, I suppose I can't argue with that. So if there's anything in particular you remember about going there, maybe we could put something together for him, show our appreciation. I appreciate your intentions, but still, I think it's better to ask him directly. However, I have no problem assisting you. The thing is, well, Texas is quite a large place, as large or larger than any whole countries, Japan included. I likely cannot speak about the specific area where Luke hails from. How about broader strokes then? What did you think of the area when you were passing through? Wow, I was quite amazed, honestly. As I said, it is quite large, with many different countries worth of geography all in one location. Snowy mountains, arid deserts, rolling plains. Oh, and the rivers. Did you know, in quite a few areas, the people spend all their hottest days in the summer swimming. What was the word? Tubing down the rivers? I didn't know that. Huh, I didn't know that. What do you mean, tubing? They take an inner tube, a big rubber ring filled with air, and they float it on it for miles down the river. Do you think that Luke would appreciate us setting something up like that for him? His brow furrows. Well, we did create a rather large swimming pool, I suppose. A river might be possible. A thoughtful hum vibrates in your throat. Would you like a river? I feel like you would get on to us if I said that. You stay quiet, letting him think it over for a long moment, and then quietly clear your throat to move the conversation along. Anyway, I guess you did a lot of tubing, huh? It was a very pleasant way to travel for me, much better than walking, or heavens forfend, traveling by car. But it is, unfortunately, not possible to do so for long. Either the local human governments forbid it in certain areas, or the river isn't safe to traverse, or pollution and runoff have been poisoned the waters. Forgive me for sounding like a curmudgeon, but it really was a lot simpler back in my day. I can imagine. And you're not really a car person, huh? Again, don't misunderstand, they are useful like in many modern advancements. And I won't deny they can be a convenience when one might travel for long distances in a short time. But I'll take my own 2 feet, or an inner tube, any day. In any case, I think we're wandering away from the topic at hand. Let's see, what else? He hems, he haws, he runs his claws through his beard. At last, he shrugs. I'm afraid there's not much more I can say. In truth, I was merely passing through on my way to an actual lead in my search. What was a lead? I'm curious. Dragon Boyle, I'm curious. An actual lead? What was it? Oh, well, it doesn't matter now. It was a wash in the end. Although, now we're straying from the purpose of this exercise, don't you think? Right. Sorry, just got curious. So yes, that's pretty much all I can tell you about my time in Texas. Do excuse me if I wasn't informed as you were hoping. No, it's fine. Sparked at least a couple ideas for things to do for Luke. Maybe we could think of something up for someone else. Perhaps we will not know till we try. So then, where else are you curious about? Have you been to... I can't think. Your lips press together, and your brow furrows. Nothing else comes, and with a surprised sigh, you realize that nothing has been gained from this exercise. Well then, do you think this is enough? You force the corners of your mouth up into a smile and give him a nod. Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Coda. Despite your best attempts, it's difficult to fully keep the disappointment out of your voice. The dragon, however, seems not to take any notice. He gives you a gracious nod of his own and begins to shift in his seat, making to get up. I am always happy to help. Now then, I had a few other matters to attend to before returning to work, if you'll excuse me. Oh, of course. Guess I'll see you later then. With a chuckle and a brief grunt, the dragon hauls himself to his feet. He takes a moment to smooth down his clothes and tuck his phone away. Afterward, he edges up around the table on his way to the door, giving you a pat on the shoulder as he passes. You turn to watch him go, waiting until he has swept through the doorway before allowing your expression to fall. That could have gone a lot better. You can't really be sure, but there were moments when you were speaking that could have seemed to catch on to what you were attempting. Trying to be clever with the dragon may be the wrong way to go about things. As you gather yourself, rising from your seat and stretching, thoughts of how to proceed flitter through your mind. Would the direct approach be better after all? Should you step back and let the dragon be for a while? At last, you sigh. You can decide on how to approach Coda later. For now, there's still work to do before the day is done. Okay, what do these guys have? They made some progress, but nothing was completed. There's no one here. I am fine. Really, I am. The air around Hestia's fire smells like sunlight on a carefree day. Asterian's fur, warmed by it, takes on the soft scent of dust, sweat, and salt water. You kneel beside him to watch as his latest sacrifice is taken by the sacred flame. You place your hand on his knee as your worm see through the Minotaur's clothing. He slouches his shoulders and releases his held breath. Oh, I could have changed his clothes. I couldn't, right? Darn. His hand settles atop yours, fingers splayed like a child too tired to make any attempt at being tidy. Thank you for last night, however. You helped me settle through all the thoughts galloping inside my head. You're welcome. You pat on his back. How odd it must look to the guests in the lounge to see a puny human console a larger Minotaur. But neither of you, kings of this realm, could care about that. After all, to be a lord of gifts of men with most noble After all, to be a lord, gifts with men, or the flip. After all, to be a lord, gifts men with most noble shamelessness. And even then, one should not be stingy with affection towards a friend. That would be far more unbecoming. But peace cannot last. A pair of sticky feet clap up to you in Asterion. He grasps Asterion index finger and tugs on it. Asterion, Mr. Asterion. Yes, Gruggy. The lyre, can you play it for us? Tepito wants to dance. I would love to, but I'm afraid my songs do not go well with dancing. But the kobold cannot appreciate such things as mood or context. Even a funeral dirge, or dirge, what is it, dirge? Dirge? Can be a real toe tapper to the untrained ear. Besides, the Minotaur's plinplons are sweet enough on their own. Surely the little deer reasons to himself, dancing will only enhance them. Besides, Groggy tugs on Asterian's finger again. Sorry about that. Please. He's like a child. You and Asterian exchange a glance. Together, you get up and return to your quarters to retrieve Minotaur's lyre. Okay, can we change him? On the way there, each of you holds one of Greggy's hands, as though he were your own child. You lift him up a few inches off the ground, swinging him gently to and fro. His delighted giggling patters through the infinite hallways of the hotel, banishing old pains. A string of vapor rose from the coffee mug, framed by blinding sunlight slashing its way from the window to the countertop. The kitchen smelled of old-aged wood, spices, dust, and unbathed man. The house as a whole, meanwhile, could not ever let go the scent of greatness and bitter old age. A trunk wrapped around the coffee mug and brought it to its mouth, rougher than uncut gemstones. A scaled mitt clawed a smartphone's screen. As it scrolled down the newsfeed, the other hand scratched the man's stomach. After seeing one tragedy too many on the screen, the great beast lifted its head to gaze instead at the window and the world outside. His ears flapped, stirring at the stagnant air in the kitchen. He noticed his own scent, sharp, almost offensive, mixing sweat with rock and clay dust. Huh. He's like large. He should shower, he knew. It was right and proper, but for what? There was no one around to witness his hygiene or lack thereof. Neither was there any worthwhile task commanding him to dress up for an occasion. This would be another lazy day spent trying to find a distraction, ignoring the great issue that had consumed his family for decades now. The great beast sighed. He should call his dad, ask him how his recovery was going. But he knew, well, how even a gesture as small as that could flare up the old man's condition. So he waited, as his family had done for decades. He did their small duties, managing a stable portfolio of investments and transferring retirement funds to an ever-dwindling list of survivors. Just another day suspended in time and away from their purpose. A somber croak escaped his chest. And that was when the doorbell rang. He marched to the door, his trunk swaying left and right with every step. Through the peephole, he saw a little man, face painted with a crooked smile. He had odd features. How uncommon it was to see one such as Mediterranean traits in Johannesburg? The little man must have heard the beast's heavy footsteps, for he answered before the house's resident could even speak. Specially delivery for Mr. Mendlake? Thumba's diamond ring shone brilliantly when he opened the door. Mr. Mendlake is on his way. Wait. Is on his way. Okay. Mr. Mendlake is away. He won't be here for a few months. I am his son, so you may hand it to me. Wow, he's like pretty authoritative. But the stranger did not budge, not an inch, not even a fraction of it, as if he was a statue bolted to the ground. If he's not here, then please inform me of his whereabouts. I must deliver this into his hands. I was informed it's very urgent business matter. Yet another reason to give it to me then. My father is retired. It's been a few years since I've taken over for him. The little man looked at Themba's ring. His eyes were drawn to the diamond on it. So you are his heir. I suppose it makes sense. Here. I was told it's the most urgent matter. The little man turned around and walked away. In the time it took for Themba to scan the envelope's surface, he was already 24 meters from the door. Wait, there's no return address on the envelope. Who sent it? But the little man never looked back. It was a day like any other. A chilly breeze out on the doorstep refreshed him from the mugginess of the kitchen. From the corner of his vision, Themba caught a glimpse of a cat pouncing on a distracted bird. Still standing in the open doorway, wearing only a pair of too small shorts and a pit-stained shirt. Pit-stained shirt covered his scent in the scent of sweaty night of sleep. He opened the envelope. The cat bit down on the bird's neck. It stopped struggling. Themba saw the 10 words. Just 10. And his trunk went numb. Return now to the hotel. Master Asterion requires your services. Hummingbirds peck at the back of his skull, making each and every fine strand of hair stand on end. There he stood, scratching behind his ears until flushed. The cat, meanwhile, ran off with its limp prey. Back inside, Themba sat on the couch. Without a second thought, he typed in his father's phone number. The screen displayed a picture of his dad 3 decades ago, back when he was leaner, still wearing his favorite suit just as it threatened to become too small. Even back then, his eyes were already grown dull, deathly bored and bitter. His shoulders slouched forward, hinting at the fused bones fated to evolve into a gruesomely hunched back. And right on his desk was a liquor, cigarettes, and painkillers. Aww. 10 minutes, and he never pressed the called button. Themba could do it. For the decades he had been preparing himself for this day, he got up. Then a shower, 22 minutes long, most of it spent just standing under the stream. Having his back pelted like that, almost comforting. The elephant could hope it would wash away all the decades-long stagnation from himself. Life, he knew, was often unforgivable, and he, Themba Kaluza, could not shake the thought of that. After so long, he would be inadequate as death feels wrong. It would be a disgrace. All their decisions would not, no doubt, be scrutinized and deemed heretical. Wow. Gross misuse of resources and rampant mismanagement, if not outright mutiny. But he had to do it. Themba's life had been too good so far. It was only right that he rise to the occasion and repay his old debt. He went on his preparation. Bitter coffee halfway burnt, overfilled briefcase almost bursting, scratched car keys and fidgeting hands. Oh, he looks nice. Clothes, some of his finest. But not the best, for being overdressed would be most unbecoming. Turned on the security system, locked all rooms, then the back and front doors. Out and dead, afraid at first, yet indifferent when the scenery changed into a desert. Up and down slopes, trunk twisted into knots that came undone when the majestic hotel rose from the horizon. Guests? Excited when parking his car beside the others. So many. As a boy, the double doors had always been too heavy for him, but today, pushing both at the same time feels like justice and bliss have met at last. Despite all the reasons to be afraid, for a moment, Themba allows himself the luxury of believing everything will be fine. Breathe in, hold it for 5 heartbeats, then out, just like his father taught him. Howdy, partner. Good having you in this here. Oh my god. Howdy, partner. Good having you in this here little hotel. Themba's gaze wanders. How small the place feels now, almost like a dollhouse compared to his memories. But one thing still remains, like he remembers it. When he lays a hand on the wooden desk, he can feel the labyrinthine patterns on the grain. Today he traces a claw over them, just like he did as a boy. Good morning. I hope you have a fine day. Sure am. It's always a fine day when we're doing good work. The griffin, how curious, gives Themba a rather forward look up and down before launching into his welcoming spiel. This year's a special place. Our goal is having a good home to everyone who needs it. But I know the trip's confusing as hell, so you want an exploration as to the whole thing. No, I do not. That won't be necessary. I am well acquainted with here. Could you please take me to the master? I have matters to address with him. You looking for Lucien? Are you friends? Pardon? I meant Master Asterion. A nervous cough creeps into his throat. Would it be too proud or excessive, perhaps even egocentric, to hope he will be remembered? He might recognize my name. Tell him Themba Kaluza, son of Menlake, is here. My father could not come, so I'm here in his place. It's an honor making your acquaintance, Mr. The name's Luke, and sure, pal. Just wait here. I'll be back in a jiffy. The Minotaur arrives with the man in Tau. Their eyes lock. Shame already bowls over Themba's ears, like he's merely some presumptuous child again. He pulls his eyes down the Minotaur's hooves. In the fraction of a second during which he gazes at the Minotaur's face, he sees an uncertainty turning into surprise, then into an open-hearted excitement. Themba bends a knee, lowers his gaze, and waits for the cadence of the true master's sweet-sounding hooves. Man, how old is he? Oh, I gotta... I'll say this later. But, like... It must be so weird to like watch one person grow like old while you don't grow at all, and vice versa. Like, it must be weird to like grow old and then watch as someone else doesn't age at all. Like, that has to be weird, right? In the seconds that follows, he feels naked, unforgivably so. He closes his fist and grits his teeth, as if it could distract him from the cringing taking over his chest. The Prince of Crete wastes no time and lays his hand on the boy's head. Can you believe it? When he was last here, he was no taller than my waist. You have grown so much. Do you remember when you used to run down the hallways, bumping into everyone on your way? How could I forget? Those were the happiest years of my life, sir. The sentiment is dearly appreciated. Now rise, please. I want to see your face. How has your family fared, Themba? It has been a long time. Sir, despite your absence, we have upheld the mission. We never forgot your ideals, and so we... To the best of our abilities, we searched for and located nearly all of the displaced employees and their families. For the last 8 decades, we took it as our goal to make sure they received their due compensation, that they were taken care of and lived into the joy and comfort of old age. We were not perfect, and a few escaped our grasp, but my father did his best for the hotel's mission. The Minotaur's arms lose all strength. His ears flick back and forth to blow away at the storm of hummingbirds pecking on the back of his skull. Even before Themba finishes, Asterion is already closing his eyes and digging his hooves on the floor to contain the dizziness overtaking him. Even if his knees buckle, he does not faint nor lose balance. And despite a throat-ravishing groan, the Minotaur feels not a lick of discomfort. He lets out a well-earned sigh of immeasurable relief and regains his composure. As their eyes meet, Themba's gaze drops downward once more. And how is your father? How is he doing? He's alive and well, sir. Just indisposed, recovering from a health issue. His condition is stable, but delicate. I thought it would be prudent to come as soon as I heard the news. I shall inform of your return as soon as you hear it. As his health allows it, please, do not fear. There is no doubt he will make a full recovery in due time. I see. Sad as it may be to hear that news, this will provide us with time to prepare a proper welcome for him. Yes, sir. And how did you do to find your way here? Did the gods send you a premonition? I received a letter today. Not more than 2 hours ago. It read, "Return to the hotel. Master Asterion requires your services." Wasn't that your lordship's doing? I'm afraid not, although... Let us figure out those details later. Come, I want to hear all the stories, everything you can say. But first... Asterion looks at you. Lucian, this is Themba. He is the son of our previous accountant. Their lineage is nothing if not traditional, so I am not surprised he kept the family business. Certainly, sir. I follow my father and my grandfather's trade with all the pride in the world. They have been with us for centuries now, responsible for the hotel's finances and making sure our employees are taken care of well into their elderly years. He is a Grootslank from South Africa. Their lineage is a very ancient one. Legend says they were one of the first beings created by the gods. Now, Themba, Lucian is the hotel's current master. It is he who must you thank for the prosperity. Like an archer taking aim, Themba's gaze locks on your eyes. Before you can muster up any words, he extends his hand to a firm handshake. The new one. Yes, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. His grip lingers, and so does his gaze, appraising every single feature of your face. Pardon if it was somehow indelicate, but I must say your face is altogether unfamiliar. Finally so. I should add, but I must make sure. Would you happen to have any familial relation to a certain Clement? You respond in kind to Themba's increasingly firm handshake. Thankfully, no. He and I are entirely unrelated, although my time here has made me far too familiar with what he did. Now that's a relief. Now, let's go. He lets go of you and steps back. His grip comes undone tenderly now, every knuckle uncurling like a snake giving up on its prey. His gaze, softer, shyer, returns to Asterion. We have a great deal of business to discuss. Is there a private room we could use? You and Asterion lead Themba to the office in your shared headquarters, but some rituals must be followed. No meeting can end well if there's no fresh coffee to kick it off. While the Grootslang prepares his papers in the office, you and Asterion chat in the kitchen. I was there during his birth. He even started calling me uncle as soon as he learned to speak. He was so adorable as a child. Now he's just like his father, calling me master and sir. Oh, and how does it feel? A part of me finds it familiar. That is how his family has always addressed me, but it is so... I believe I hid it well enough, but I cringe a bit when he says it. The memory of the boy he used to be so strong. Seeing him like that does not feel right. You're tasting some of your own medicine, master, sir. Now that you're taking a vassal, you understand why I ask you to call me by my name. Should I also prostrate myself, oh, most honored of Prince Asterion? The cringe is monumental inside the bull's heart. Please, no. You win. I'll call you Lucian. Just stop. Nope. You must face the consequences of your words and deeds, oversized overseer. We called him fat or just big? What? Or both? Whatever. You pick the finest teacups and the most undersized spoons. Undersized? What? Why would we do that? Place them on the tray, covered in flourishes and engravings, and take them to the office. When we want oversized spoons? Okay. You make a show of pouring out the coffee first for Asterion, then for Themba, and at last yourself. I keep doing this. I am very sorry. My lord, havest thou a craving for milk, or perhaps a dash of cream? White or brown sugar? Would a paper-thin wafer please the kingly palate? It's fine. Asterion is about to sit down in front of the desk when you intercept him. My lord, no. This is the most common chair. Please, take a seat that befits is this one, on the other side. Pardon, I'm afraid I don't follow what's happening. Is there something I should be made aware of? I'm just having fun with Asterion. He's always calling me master and lord, despite all the times I told him to use my name. So, when you did the same to him, well, I'm only human. I couldn't take the chance to slip. I see. How peculiar. And most unorthodox. I distinctly remember Master Asterion being quite strict with how he's addressed superiors. Well, this situation is different now. I'm also making it a point that he's my partner and the hotel's co-owner. Themba ruminates, searching for words he cannot say. Now, if only our triumphal master, Asterion, sir, would stop calling me such silly names, at last we will have equality and justice among men. Would it be indelicate to ask why? Why what? Why are you putting Uncle Asterion as your equal? Because it's the right thing to do, and that should be more than enough? I understand, sir. Now you can just call me Lucian. Very well, sir. I helped raise him, my lord. He knows all my tricks. We can gang on him, Asterion, sir. No, none of that. Let's cut to the chase. Don't we have plenty of business to discuss? I suppose we do. Has Uncle Asterion explained how the hotel's accounting has traditionally worked? No, we haven't gone to such specifics yet. We have been needing to discuss on a few bigger issues first. Well then, it is quite simple. As you may know by now, Lucian, the hotel has compensated for its employees. Sadly, the realm refuses to produce any currency, and even if it did, that would be counterfeiting. Fortunately, there are many loopholes we've exploited for years now. The easiest being precious gemstones. Isn't that also counterfeiting? Like, you're creating... Okay, like... Sorry. You're creating gems that are which not already in the world. The hotel's employees used to be happy with the prospect of being compensated with such rubies and emeralds. The problems arose when it came to time for them to return to the outside world. Selling large gemstones attracts far too much attention, you see. Their safety was often at risk. That's when my family began its employment under Master Asterion. We were tasked with discreetly selling gemstones, laundering the money, and making sure the employees earned their wages in preferred currencies. Asterion, since when even money laundering? No. We got criminals, guys. Perhaps I should leave the topic of taxation for another day. It would not be conducive to a good first impression. On a lighter subject, we were also responsible for the hotel's retirement pension. Suffice it to say, as per Master Asterian's commands, we strive to provide an exceptional standard of living for all the hotel's former and current employees. On this topic, Uncle Asterion, Uncle Asterion, there is much I have to tell you. Without your guidance, we were without a clear distraction. We were without clear directions. There was no standard procedure for anything like what Clement did. So my father, thinking back to the hotel's mission and your leadership, designed a plan he believed would be to your liking. Immediately after the incident, he searched for all the hotel's employees one by one and made sure they were safe and sound. The majority of them did not have the opportunity to achieve their savings from the hotel's safe, so he made sure all were completely recompensed for their time and inconvenience. I'm sorry. That did mean pulling the hotel's bank funds without your explicit permission, and contrary to the standard procedure... Good. That is indeed what I would have asked of him. Thank you, Master. Father will be glad to know his choices and earned your approval. Moving on. The search for all the employees took 5 years. Father also created a funding plan to help them settle down and began preparations for the enhanced retirement program. Save for a handful of early deaths, all the employees we located lived to enjoy a comfortable age. Sadly, considering the expected lifespan of humans, all but a handful have passed away. Those who remain, as one may expect, restricted mobility. You mentioned a few employees escaped your grasp. What is the situation? 5. 5 of those 3 returned to their homes and were proceeded to unknown destinations. We cannot track down them afterwards. 1 never returned home, and so his situation is entirely unknown. It is possible for the 4 escaped the hotel with some of their savings and chose to leave with no trace behind. The last one proved particularly troublesome. Perhaps you remember him. He was known as P. Yes, our security guard. Ever watchful, unwavering. He had refused to provide accurate information about his origins, and his passport, although legitimate, was blank. In truth, the town where he was supposedly originated from does not exist, and the name he gave, unsurprisingly, led nowhere. That is surprising indeed. He did tell me his circumstances used to be very unpleasant. Yes, mind you, he was not the only employee to providing accurate information, but no other left as few leads as him. Returning to P, we tried tracking him from the other way around. He was a mythical, a self-described peacock, so we tried finding others of his species we could consult. We heard gossip of others like him, but nothing conclusive. My father was able to grease some palms and gain access to Brazilian directory of mythicals, but that provided no leads either. In fact, as far as the records go, his species is altogether non-existent. There seems to be no official record of peacock in Brazil, even to this day. Our hypothesis is that, for some reason, his kind is purposely uncatalogued or miscatalogued. On top of that, P may have kept himself out of the government registries, which was not abnormal for Brazilian mythicals during the mid-20th century. It is within the realm of possibility that he may have had a terribly short life. Huh, was he like 20? I see. The Minotaur looks away, to the window, and the valley beyond. Despite how fine the fur at the back of his neck is, it is easy to see it standing up. If he had a family, I suppose it is too late now. Probably. Asterion taps his hooves on the floor. His hand, lying on the desk, contracts to a claw, but softens once you reach out to lay yours over it. Asterion looks at you, you at him, and Themba sees it all. I shouldn't be surprised. I considered this hypothesis. It's merely a matter of numbers, is it not? Even if it is, most old employees did well after what happened. Surely at least a handful would not. I should be grateful and happy that such a fate was the exception, and not the rule. Only 5 of those fates remain unknown, out of more than 50. Not a bad haul, sir. That is true. I'll just need some time to think it through some more. I've taken a lot into your time. Oh my god. I've taken enough of your time already. But there is one more matter I must touch on. The specifics of my employment. Historically, the hotel's accountants have operated independently from the master. In fact, we respond directly and exclusively to Uncle Asterion. This was decided centuries ago as a precaution against any master who might try to empty the hotel's bank in advance to his retirement. A policy which, I must highlight, guaranteed that Clement enjoyed not a single penny of Uncle Asterion's money after what he did. Well, that's nice. I hope you have no objection with this arrangement. I can see very well why he had that policy in place, but does that mean he won't respond to my commands? There is no reason to not worry about that. I will gladly follow your orders as long as they are compatible with the hotel's mission and Uncle Asterion's well-being. On that matter, Themba, you should have no reason to worry. In all honesty, there's never been a master who treated me as well as Lucian did. He went so far as to sign a binding contract that effectively makes him unable to summon me out to the valley. Is that so? The Grootslain directs his gaze to you, not quite so fixed on your eyes and filled with something close to childish hope. That is enough for now, Uncle Asterion. I brought some luggage with me. As you might expect, I intend on staying for a while. Good, we need hope. I shall take leave for now. But prepare yourself, I'll require your time soon enough. The massive Grootslain gets up. We have much catching up to do, Uncle Asterion. And with no further ceremony, he leaves. So how does it feel, seeing your nephew again? Better than I could have imagined. I'll sleep very well tonight. Themba has been checked into the hotel. He's now available. Oh, okay. So I'll probably manage assets with him. All raw materials, okay. Asterion leaves the office, taking the empty coffee cups with him and giving you time to plan out what to do with your day. It may seem rude to put Themba to work right away, but he does seem eager to get started. Alright. Is Coda ready? Coda. I think I'll do Coda. How much time do we have here? In 15. Oh, we will definitely change him though. For color clothes. There we go. Manage. We're gonna be with him. Oh, wow. He has 2 tech and 1 contract? Not that I thought he would. Huh. We'll hang out with Coda. Coda! Another day, another break from work, another jaunt from downstairs in search of a certain dragon. Again, you find his usual spot in the earth empty, and so poke your head into the employee break room. Again, you find Coda sitting by himself, but today, his hands are folded in the table before him, and his face is placidly smiling mask. If you didn't know any better, you'd say he's waiting for you. Good afternoon, Lucian. I presume you had wished to visit me for a while again today. I was hoping to, yeah. Well, here I am. Come, sit. You take his invitation once again. Sitting across the dragon, he remains as still as a statue. No movement, not even a flick of his eyebrow, or the tapping claw against the tabletop. So then, what shall the topic be today, Is there anything in particular that is on your mind? There it is again, the slightest hint. Knowing that you know the dragon that he knows. Even if it is imagined, it prickles at you. At your mind, at your conscience. Actually, there is one thing I want to apologize to. His expression doesn't change at all. Oh, for what? Well, since we're starting talking, I may have been prying too much. A little bit more than your business than I should have been. I wanted to know more about you, but it's possible I let my curiosity get the better of me, and I may have gotten carried away with trying to figure you out. It's quick, almost too much to be seen, but the corner of Coda's mouth perks up. For just a moment, his nostrils flare with a single puff of his breath. Then he glances away and lets his chest vibrate, rumble. I suppose complaining would make me more of a hypocrite, considering my prying into your and Asterian's personal matters. Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right, and it was still wrong of me. That I will concede. Still, you forgave me of my trespass, and now I forgave you of yours. The water flows, after all. I suppose. At last, the 2 of you share a brief, easy smile on the table. Now then, let us be frank with one another. You are curious about my past and wish to know more about what led to my current circumstances. Yes, and you want to keep all that private. Well, that's not entirely true. But I am old, Lucian, and very tired. After all these years, it does not come easily to me, too. The weeds grow so thick, you can't even see the path that leads to my house. It happened while I waited for someone who would not come. How about this? I'm sure you've been able to piece together a good amount of what I've told you, whether intentionally or otherwise. So this time, why don't you tell me a story? Tell me the narrative you managed to construct, and I'll fill in the details that you've missed. Please, indulge me, if only for the time being. A tiny bit of desperation slips into his voice, familiar, recognizable. Similar to what you've noticed in his eyes long ago, when he first joined the staff. All right. Close your eyes for a moment. You close your eyes for a moment, gathering your thoughts. Coda gives you all the time that he believes you may need. When you're ready, you look over to meet the dragon's gaze and begin. You began your travels in Japan. I don't know how long ago. It's been at least a century and a half, and from what you told me, you've grown used to being on the road. Coda doesn't speak up to correct you, and so you continue. All this time you've been searching for someone. Ansem, I presume something happened between the 2 of you, and you left Japan. He glances away, but still doesn't interrupt you. Whatever the case, over the years, you've been seeking out leads that may help you find him. And to do that, you hope to exchange your blessings for information. Is that why you've made all those agreements? Not just for food and shelter, but whatever leads you can find as well? The dragon nods, still remaining silent. So years and years pass, you travel over the globe, and finally end up here. You said it yourself. A place for wanderers to gather would be the best location to find what you're looking for. Who you're looking for. Were you really just brothers? Or your brother? I don't know. The way he talks about him, it doesn't seem like they're just brothers. Like, I don't know. If my brother actually left, I'd look for him, but like, I don't know. This seems like longing for something more than just like family. Because like, I'd want to keep in touch from time to time, but like, my brother I know would keep in touch. And I'm sure if it was Koda's brother, it would probably, they would do the same. Especially with like the age it is, and he has a phone. You'd probably keep in touch with your family. Unless you have like something really bad happened, but I don't know. Koda's not a bad person, I believe, to like cause something like that. Koda flinches, his eyes widen just a fraction. The clock on the wall ticks once, twice, thrice. What makes you think that? He yearned. Even now, pine crickets sing of a lost friends. 'Tis no denial. Well, the way you talk about him. I don't mean to imply anything untoward, but, well, I can't help but feel well, what can I say? Is that things between Onsen and I were perhaps a little complicated. More complicated than mortals, than humans may understand. There are many things about myself which I've had to keep under wraps for a long, long while. I suppose in addition to wandering, I've grown used to keeping up an appearance, being circumspect. Yes, that. Well, I'm not going to say that you've had to spill your guts out. It's your business, after all. But if you want to talk, then I'm here for you. I'm sure Asterion, Luke, and everyone else would say the same. And there's anything we or the hotel can do to help you find Onsen, all you need to do is ask, okay? He taps a claw on the tabletop, humming as he furrows his brow in thought. Lucian, indulge my curiosity if you would. If I did so happen to nurture an affection for Onsen, what exactly would you have to say about that? It's wrong, I don't like it, but it's none of my business. I don't have a problem with it. What would you have to say about it? I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, this guy's definitely the second oldest that I've seen so far. And he doesn't seem to, like, age like, Luke or Themba. Like, I haven't seen much Themba. Like, I only saw stuff, like, a little while ago. But, like, if he's not dead, then he's been around for at least couple centuries, maybe, Themba? I don't know. But, like, Koda's definitely been around for more than a couple centuries because of, like, the way he speaks. Like, he even talks about, like, before there was rivers or, like, tubing and stuff. So, like, I'm pretty sure tubing is, fairly newer, right? Like, it's probably been around long, but, like, probably, like, 1900s long? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not, like, a history kid or history major. I'm not even that, but Themba. So I'll say I don't have a problem with it. Well, I guess I don't have any real problem with it. Really. Really, I mean, I assume you're both consenting adults, or the mythical equivalent, and I don't know how complicated it is between the two of you, but yeah. If that's how things are, then good on you both. He peers at you for a long moment, searching for any hint of insincerity in your words. You look right back at him. At last, he seems satisfied. Perhaps modern times are more understanding than I'd give him credit for. Tension you hadn't noticed gathering in his shoulders is released, and now the dragon almost stumps in his seat. As hidden grass is yearning, bending toward another, one never forgets one's friend. Such thoughts are so precious to recall. You let your gaze wander away from the dragon, giving him space and a moment to collect himself. When he clears his throat again, soft and polite, to get your attention, you turn to see a different Coda before you. Shamefaced and earnest. I will need some time to think over what we've discussed. Please forgive me, but it is a lot, and it is difficult for both for me to get it all together and to talk about. Oh, I just noticed something. Okay, let me... That's perfectly fine. Whatever you're ready. Just let me know. I will. Thank you, Lucian. After that, your conversation drifts off into pleasurable small talk and the companionable silence. The time eventually comes to a return to work. As you and Coda share a brief farewell, you can see the thoughts of tumult behind his eyes. He will need time to think, time to ruminate, time to reminisce, and to let centuries of reservations go. I'm very sorry about that sound. Luckily, here in the hotel, he has all the time he will ever need. Okay, I think I'm gonna start skipping past this part here. Oh my god, shut up. The night, I know discovers. The night, a whole new wave of guests packs the lounge during its usual dinner time. Asterion doesn't even have time to bring it up. You can plainly see the agitation in his eyes. And so you and a Minotaur roommate partake of that most ancient and revered custom, getting some takeout to enjoy the quiet privacy of your quarters. Always. During dinner, Asterion keeps glancing at his tablet, a smile finely painted on his rough lips. I may have discovered something quite useful for us, Lucian. I was trying to read a few ancient Greek works today, which, as one would expect, is quite different from language from what I learned in the early days of the Labyrinth. I did notice, however, that the hotel's translation was having a slight effect, just enough to help me bridge the gap. One of these days, I will try to, update the hotel's translation. I might know how to do it. When you settle in after the finishing dinner, Asterion becomes lost in thought. At times, he looks to the drawer where you hid Clement's letter. How's the writing going? Did you write down any poetry? Oh yeah, I did in fact. After I kindled the hearth's flame, I went to the garden, to Lord Hades' statue, to the asphodels and Dittany tree. I've had the silliest thought of nagging at me for ages now. When I was a boy, I would scrape the end and injure myself. One of my brothers would rub my Dittany leaves off my wound. Would rub Dittany leaves on my wounds. What would those do? I cannot be naive enough to believe that Lord Hades knew of my preference, but I sometimes wish he did. That this may be the reason why such a tree grows by a statue. I felt such a strong emotion today, tending to the garden. It reminded me of such a poem I wrote long ago. I wrote it down again, of course. Asterion looks out the window and to the crescent moon outside. Do you think that Lucian, Lord Hades, could have known? I'm sure he did. It must have been a gift for you. It's the least he could have done for a loyal member of his royal guard and sparring partner. A god caring about a mortal. That's a very innocent idea, Lucian. But I suppose, my good and wise master, is it your command that I believe your words should I bow down and obey? Should you believe me? Maybe. Maybe because I'm right. Not because of masterhood or this lordship that. Very well, sir. Truth or not, the thought alone brings joy. Okay. So what happened today was what did happen today, guys? Let's turn this down just a tiny bit. What happened today was that we... So far, we got our financer. Our financer loves us. No, he doesn't. But our financer is apparently... Oh, apparently Mr. Jean Marais knows of our people of the hotel because we asked him for these guys. Or he asked us and he just got the elephant that so happens to know about Mr. Themba and his family. Which I'm very sus about. He's acting strange that he didn't know of the hotel but did know these people. Now, I have not read the other ones. Probably will later, maybe. I think they're in the later builds, but I'm not gonna bother with trying to get all of them in like this one playthrough. Maybe I will at the end of the playthrough, but yeah, feeling a little bit burnt out, as you may can see. It's probably because school, volleyball, adult life that is hitting me hard now. But yeah, I'm going to stick. I've said this probably 1,000 times, but I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week, if possible 3. I'm going to make a schedule, so yeah. No more boring loose snap. Oh my god, that hurt. Ow. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so okay, let's talk about this part. Okay. Today we found out that Koda loves his brother. We assumed that, and then it turned out to be true. We also got Big Elephant Boy Themba. We changed Hysterian's clothes today, because... yeah. What else do we do? I think in the next one, we will probably hang out with Themba. Yeah, we'll hang out with Themba. This is gonna be the next one. So yeah. Okay. I will see you guys later. Good morning, good night, good afternoon. But I'll see you later. Or maybe never. Who knows? It'll probably never be never, because I plan to read other VNs. And I have some I really do want to read. Which... yeah. It's because I haven't read those in like forever. And I just want to like reread them. So yeah. I'm probably going to put a poll in the thing. But whichever one gets the most, yeah. Or put recommendations and I'll look at them. I've seen a bit of Heroes Advent. And it looks pretty good. I swear. Looks pretty good. Maybe something shorter next time. Or like... a bit more... I'm not saying that like this is bad, but like... No, I'm not saying this is bad. I like this story a lot. It's just that like... we don't really get to the point much. But I guess this VN is about managing a hotel, so it's like... doing life in a hotel. So yeah. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.